It feels good to be back. I'm excited, and what a better place to be. Happy it's graduation day here on the Penn West campuses. Congratulations to everybody, especially CUTV and WCAL's very own Braxton Turner, Noah Turner, James Anderson, and John Chacos. Huge congratulations to all of them. We really will miss them and really appreciate all the stuff that they do. But that means we get to play here in Hamer Hall, which is a novelty at this point, but something that we always look forward to, so it's glad to be back. Yeah, I think this season for the Vulcans has not gone off to the start they would have wanted. I think, just to put it frank, everything possibly that has gone wrong for them has gone wrong for the season. Nationally ranked top 4, top 5 in the country, 6-0 to start the season, but just plagued by injuries over and over and over again have really derailed it. But we'll get back into it. And that has been a struggle in this 5-game losing streak for the Vulcans, has been the ability to knock down the 3-ball. And they've lost a couple very close games in that stretch. And you just got to think, if you can knock down a couple more threes, you're taking the win there. So trying to get some consistency on that end is something that this Vulcan team needs to get a grip on. And that was some good defense that time by the Wildcats, just forcing the Vulcans out of options. And it was Munir Waller, the 6'3" graduate guard out of Abington, Pennsylvania, going up against Gunther. And I think they called a technical foul on him. Pretty uncommon opening scoreline, 1-0, you know. Just some great awareness that time by Hannah. Got to his spot, was able to get positioned down low in the post, took the brunt of it that time on the charge. And sometimes there's just, you got to have a couple of players on your team that are just willing to do the dirty work, get in there, take one for the team, take an elbow, take a shot to the chest, and get an extra possession for your squad. Yeah, just a beautiful pass that time from Gunther. Just a full court throw. Looks like a quarterback back there just launching it up, and Hannah with the great hands able to pull it in and make the basket. Great shot that time by Perkins. Not the biggest guy out there, 5'7", 150, but able to just create enough separation, able to knock down the shot even with the contact. Yeah, the Vulcans have only made one shot, 1 for 7 so far from the field, but have done a phenomenal job at kind of following up on these shots. When they go up, 3 offensive boards already for the Vulcans, and I think the law of averages suggests that eventually the shots will start going down and kind of even itself out. So if you're able to knock down the shots, plus already having the offensive follow-through, it's going to look pretty good as the Vulcans make their first sub of the game, number 5, Keandre DeShields, 6'3" freshman guard, kind of a local lad out of Uniontown, went to Laurel Highlands High School, and so to get some. It's been a solid addition for this Vulcan team so far this season. As like I said earlier, they've struggled with a ton of injuries so far, and they've needed to have some people step up, and he's been one of them. Yeah, they've attempted 9 shots. 8 of them have been from outside the arc, and the only shot they've made was the layup from Hannah. 0 for 8 from 3. Something they gotta. I mean, you don't want to not take the 3-pointers because they're there. They've had wide open shots. Just about executing at this point, and so far in this game, they just haven't been able to do that quite yet. Yeah, I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to sugarcoat anything. I don't want to mince words. It just has not gone well. 5 losses already this season equals what they had all of last season. But, I mean, with the injuries that you've sustained for this team, I mean, what do you expect? Four of your starters on the season have missed time already so far in only 11 games. So it's been a tough go of it. So I think if you're a Vulcan fan, I'm trying to formulate my thoughts right. It's maybe a potential sign of better things to come, because as these players come back into good health, I know we were talking to our producer Gary Smith earlier. Donald Whitehead Jr. is expected to be back fairly soon. So is Bryson Lucas. Those 2 are key additions to this Vulcan team, and so if you have those 2 back, you're looking at a much more solid squad. But it hasn't been like they haven't been uncompetitive in these losses either. 5-point loss to Shepherd here at the Convocation Center. Not a great game against Damon University out of New York. 111-77 loss there, but an overtime loss to Wheeling by 6 points. It's kind of a tough one against Westchester, and only a 3-point loss to East Stroudsburg. So they've been in these games down to the very end. I know in that Westchester game, they scored 62 points in that second half. So this team can score the ball. It's just finding that consistency to try to prevent yourself from going in such a deficit. I mean, Dalman Alexander is 6'8", and he's got the longest arms I've ever seen in my life. It seems like anytime there's a ball in and around the basket floating around in the air, he's always fighting for it. That time just couldn't quite to get it go his way. But Wilmington, out of the Central Athletic Collegiate Conference, the CACC, and have some opponents that the Vulcans are familiar with, one especially Chestnut Hill, who we've seen them play a couple of times, and we've seen play here as of last year. Yeah, great movement that time by the Wildcats as Perez is able to just get off that screen, and it was DeShields who got underneath of it, caught a piece of him, and sends Perez to the line. Both teams not shooting particularly well so far. They combined 3 for 17 from the field. I don't think anybody would call this some clean basketball, which is something that we're kind of been accustomed to the last couple of years. But we're only 6 minutes in, plenty of time to turn it around. Yeah, and to go along with this injury problem that the Vulcans have had, they've had a ton of roster turnover in this season. I mean, 7 new additions to this Vulcan team. In this one, at the line now, Jordan Buchanan. He's been one of the bright spots for this Vulcan team this season. The freshman out of Pensacola, Florida, graduate of Robert A. Taft High School in Ohio, actually. But he's been a solid piece for the Vulcans. One that I don't think they expected to be flung into this type of position early on, but one that he's been able to mold himself and has been able to find a ton of success this year. That's just a well-crafted play, great movement by the Vulcans that time, and that's a training shot for Cam Polak, wide open, had time to set his feet, set his hands, and more often than not, he's going to be able to knock down that shot. Some excellent effort underneath the basket that time by the Wildcats, just fighting for that board. And you saw some good hands. Like you said, DeShields was able to strip it away at one point, but Hawkins never gave up on it, was able to just find himself in the right place at the right time. Ball in his possession, is able to draw the contact as well. As both teams making a substitution. Duncan Moy coming in for the Vulcans, and Isaiah Cradle coming in for the Wildcats. Yeah, a bit of a rush shot that time by Moy, but great inside positioning that time by DeShields. He was ready for it and was able to just leap over the defender boxing him out, was able to grab that offensive board, and you got to foul him, or otherwise he's were going to be able to knock down the layup. So great stuff that time by the Shields. But I wanted to point out Wilmington, there are no strangers to PSAC opponents this season. They kind of ran the gauntlet with some familiar opponents for the Vulcans: Shippensburg, Westchester, Millersville, Lock Haven, Kutztown, all in November. All losses for the Wildcats, but they've played up against some stiff competition here from the PSAC this season. And this is the last game that they're playing against the PSAC this year. PSAC supremacy. You can see the Vulcans just not really kind of setting themselves on offense, and another lazy pass leads to another turnover, and the Vulcans are going to take a timeout here to kind of talk things over. And it just hasn't been a clean brand of basketball for the Vulcans. 2 for 13 from the field in this game, 2 turnovers now. It's just some mental mistakes by the Vulcans early on in this game, and a Wilmington team who is not off to the greatest start this season themselves. 2-8 on the season. Their wins coming against Deauville and Georgian Court. So a team looking and eager to kind of pick up some wins here and on away soil. And so far the Vulcans just haven't been able to kind of stand the test so far. Oh, he's yelling. Yeah, I mean, I have no doubt in my mind that this team is one that is capable of kind of steering the ship back into the right direction. They've been through it all. A couple of these players have really stood some tough tests, not only at last season but over the course of their careers here. I mean, Cam Polak spent all of last season injured. He wants to come back and kind of reestablish himself here for this Vulcan team. And like I said, it's been some struggles, but I don't think there's any chance that this is how this season plays out for them, that they'll be back soon enough. Yeah, Jalen Horsey that time did almost as good of a job as you could inside there. Great positioning in the middle that time by Buchanan, able to just receive that pass and just try to bully himself into the lane. But Horsey did everything he could, but just a little bit too much contact on that drive. And that's where the Vulcans have made their money this game. 6 free throws made out of their 12 points now. It's not been a great start for him here. Yeah, we've seen a couple of times this offense hasn't really, for Wilmington, hasn't really resulted in made baskets, but they've caused the Vulcans a ton of problems, really doing a good job at moving the ball around quickly and forcing the Vulcans to move and to get into their spots and to cut off these rotations. And we've seen it result in a couple of fouls now, 6 free throws in the game here for Wilmington, as they've been able to make these quick passes around and able to just try to penetrate and get to the basket. Yeah, it was that time. Great trap played by Wilmington. And we've seen in years past, especially last year, I remember that first game against Gannon here at home where the Vulcans were able to readily defeat them. But you saw them break full court presses like this by using their size. You had Bryson Lucas. You threw it up to him on the inbounds pass. Nobody could stop him. Nobody could get the ball to him, and he was able to distribute out to everybody else. But so far, you don't have that giant looming presence, that big body out there on the court. It's hard to kind of facilitate that. So this trap that the Wildcats have been playing has worked extremely well, and able to get the steal off that pass from Polak this time. And Hannah has to come back, try to play some defense, and gets called for the foul. So far, this Wildcats team has not been afraid to get aggressive on the defensive side. They're throwing the hands out there. They're making the Vulcans uncomfortable, and the Vulcans haven't really been able to adjust quite yet. And that sends the Vulcans into the bonus 1-1 now for at least for the rest of the way on. And I think if you're a team struggling offensively from the field, only 2 for 13 from the field in this game, that's one way to get back into it, is if you can kind of make up for it here at the free throw line. Great defense that time by the Vulcans, and some excellent box outs as well. The Wildcats have some big bodies out there on the court, and it's not easy trying to box everybody out, especially if you don't have someone like Alexander out there for you. And this defense by the Wildcats has really made the Vulcans uncomfortable. They haven't really been able to run any set plays, not a ton of opportunities for them to run some really solid offense. They're taking shots early in the shot clock, and they're taking these deep threes that just haven't been able to fall quite yet. Three for 4 on their last 4 threes for the Wildcats. They've been able to connect from behind the arc where the Vulcans have, and they've been able to capitalize on that. just seems so far in this game that the Wildcats are just quicker in every aspect, transitioning from defense to offense. And on the defensive side, on the offensive side, it seems like every time they have the ball or anywhere on the court, it just seems like they're able to move just a bit quicker. That time, I think it was Perez who was able to get inside. It just spins away, and Gunther has to foul him, otherwise it's a free basket. And again, it just seems like the Vulcans are just a step or two behind every single time they get out here. They're going for it. After made basket, they're under a ton of pressure already. And so great job by Coach Burke and the Wildcats, the coaching staff, for really pointing that out and making that a part of the game plan. And that's got to be the most unfortunate play so far, because that's one where if that connects, that goes in, that is a momentum booster for your team.
$30 to 14 is the score here. 7 minutes and 20 seconds on the clock. Believe I was muted, so I don't know if anything I had just said been heard, but I don't think that really matters. I don't know if I really have too much to say of importance in this world, but it is my attempt to try. But it's going to be tough for these Vulcans to try and mount a comeback, especially with 7 minutes 20 on the clock. Down 16 points to a team that, in most aspects, you look at as rather inferior. And when you're struggling to, make the easy shots and avoid taking the easy fouls, really making your own life harder.
It just has not been the Vulcans' game so far here today, and I think that missed lob was one where you're really hoping, because if that goes in. Like I said, it just takes one for the house of cards to fall. You just need one thing to go in, one shot to find the back of the net to kind of get yourself back into the groove, and just a bit unfortunate. And Wilmington putting themselves in very, very good position to kind of extend their lead and to kind of maintain control of this game.
Amir Bowers first is good. And, absolutely, like I was going to say, if that lob goes down, that bench is probably doing circles and doing the wee bowling emote. As Asim Gunther's going to lose it on the inbound. And I believe he's going to pick up the foul as well. He will. Asim Gunther's going to pick up another foul. And that will give possession to Wilmington. Jordan Buchanan's going to now have to check in. And things have not gotten any better, have they?
Yeah, it's just the Wildcats have just been harassing the Vulcans. As soon as they make a basket, anything, just on the spot right there, starting the full court press, just trying to force these mistakes, force these turnovers, and they've been able to do so. And that's 5 turnovers now compared to the 1 for Wilmington.
Horsey gallops that first one in. Does he get the second one in? That is a yay, not a nay. Jordan Buchanan to inbound it. Campola looked over to Brandon Singleton, who's going to find it now. Just checked in off the bench. Break the full court, but now does the offense have anything to show for it? Down 20 now. Brandon Singleton on the far side wing. Kicks it over to Caden Hanna. Handoff to Cam Polak. Trey Hawkins tried the nice little switcheroo, did not find anything. Cam Polak on the inside also is going to miss that, but draws the foul out and sends him to the line.
And again, this is where if you are the Vulcans, it's one avenue to get yourself back into the game is making up for it at the free throw line. They've shot 9 for 10 so far in this game. Been very strong, very consistent, just getting to your spot, getting inside, and knocking down these free throws, kind of closing up the gap, and you just hope that eventually the shots on the offensive side fall.
Cradle going to check back into the game now. Cam Polak puts this to a 15-point game. He's going to make this a 16.1. That's the question. He answers that one, 16-34, 6 minutes and 50 seconds on the clock. Perez is going to take this one up court. Perez takes the screen from Hawkins. Doesn't give it down, though. It's going to be Waller with it. Gives it down to Hawkins. He's going to lose it. Hawkins, nice little pass behind the back. It's a block by Dalman Alexander. Sends the ball into the hands of Jordan Buchanan. Buchanan over to Polak. Polak with a hesitation move on the wing. Finds its way down to Caden Hanna. Caden Hanna doubled. Coach Sankum screaming. The huck from Caden Hanna finds nothing. Brandon Singleton tripped up by the defensive Cradle. Polak to the wing for Jordan Buchanan. That one is good. And I think that one's going to get called off.
Yeah, they're going to say he stuck his leg out there, and it's going to be a foul. It's going to be a turnover, I believe, and so the basket's not going to count. And again, that's finally where you just need one to fall. So it's another technical in this game.
And the only words being uttered by Coach Sankum, no way. Frustration's starting to boil here now for him and these Vulcans. Perez's first is good. 19-35.
So they are going to count the basket. The basket stays, but they're saying that Buchanan stuck his leg out to try to draw some contact, and that's a technical foul. So wipes away the three, but just a 2-point swing in that regards, I guess.
Things always end up a little weird here in Hammer Hall as the foul's going to come in. I believe that one's going to be called against Singleton. It's going to send Hawkins to the line. Hawkins shooting 56% from the charity stripe this year so far. He's not found much success from there, but I mean, with the lead these Wildcats have put up, can't put anything past them. His first shot is good.
I was always told if you can get it to within 10 before the half, then kind of anything is possible. You're not out of it yet. So if you're the Vulcans, 17-point game, 18-point now. Just try to slowly close things out here, close it up. But you're not going to be able to do it if you turn the ball over on the inbounds like they almost just did.
As Kevin Garnett said, anything is possible. But for Jason Tatum,
he said we did it.
He did say we did it, but the question is for the Vulcans, did they do it? In fact, no, they did not. That is now going to be the dunk attempt coming in and takes us to Slam City. Hamiri Bowers brings the boom. 5 minutes and 30 seconds, and I don't think they did it, John. I don't think they did it.
That was disgusting by Bowers. You saw him gearing up for it around the free throw line. He was ready, and he took full advantage of that opportunity. Just an athletic jam.
And Jordan Buchanan tried the answer, missed, grabs his own rebound, and goes for the putback too. So while this is an 18-point game again, I think if we're talking about the bench energy, it's going to go far in favor of the Vulcans. Brandon Singleton's going to pick up another foul, and that's going to send Amiri Bowers for the chance for another basket.
Bowers is really doing it all in this game. 10 points, leading the scores for Wilmington. 3 for 5 from the field, 2 for 2 from 3, and has a rebound, an assist, and a steal for the Wildcats. in only 9 minutes on the court, so he's really taking full advantage of his time out there.
Got to make the most of the time you get on this world, and I mean, in this case, got to make the time of you're getting on the court. So Bowers has really proven that he can shoot that 3 ball here so far this afternoon. Does he get the chance to shoot the free throw? That one is good as well. Buchanan inbound. Polak with it. Vulcans have been struggling so far here right now as the lob's going to go up in for Dalman Alexander. Not necessarily the boom as big as Bowers was, but still nonetheless brings the boom. 23-41 the score, 4 minutes and 40 seconds remain.
Great find that time by Hannah. Just a little bit short, so Alexander had to reach out for it, so couldn't quite slam it home as he would have wanted, but just a good start, and it leads to a turnover that time by the Wildcats. And again, this is where in the last 4.5 minutes of the half, you need to take full advantage of it. Just try to gain some points back, try to fight back, and close things up before half and reset.
Near Waller travels while going into the basket. And for him, that will give the ball back to the Vulcans. Again, chance to score here. Make the box score look a little more pretty before you go in the locker room for half. Moving ball going to come in for DeShields. DeShields with it on the far side wing. Down to Alexander. Foul going to come in on the side of Isaiah Cradle, and that is going to send Dalman Alexander to the line.
Just getting a bit crowded over on that far side. DeShields received it at the three-point line, took a couple dribbles in, and then picked up his dribble. So he and Alexander were really close together that time, and just did a good job at least finding Alexander with that pass. And Alexander, it's really hard to kind of out-physical him, out-muscle him. He's such a big guy inside, and so it's gonna be hard to receive any sort of loose ball in and around the basket with Alexander on the floor.
Makes the first of the one-on-one. 5 points on the afternoon for him. 4 rebounds. Block to go along with it. So he goes for the chance to make this 25-41 now the score. 4 minutes and 15 remaining on the clock. Denham Perkins takes the ball up now from half court. Switched on by Moy. Perkins with it. Just for the moving Perez, finds him. Looks down to the paint for Manir Waller. Keep wanting to say Wanir Mahler. Keep switching his name. Perkins driving the inside. That one's going to find its way down to Bowers again. He almost had it, but the fight for the rebound goes sour. That one will end up in the hands of California. We'll get a chance to go down the court once more.
He's a feisty little guy, Perkins, just running around, and he was down on the floor and is almost able to steal the ball off of a couple of Vulcan players there.
That one's going to finally send us a timeout. Don't have to listen to us anymore. You're watching CUTV Sports 1 on Cablecast and YouTube and 91.9 FM and the PSIC Digital Sports Network. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back.
Coach Danny Sancombe and the Vulcans men's basketball is ready to take the conference and the nation by storm this season. A non-conference schedule that starts on November 8th is followed by the PSAC West play in January. Pack the Convocation Center with 13 home games featuring non-conference foes such as Concord, Lincoln, and Wilmington, as well as conference opponents IUP, Gannon, Slippery Rock, Clarion, Edinburgh, Seton Hill, and Pitt Johnstown. Follow Cal Vulcans for the all-up-to-date schedule. Catch all the games on YouTube with CUTV Sports 1 and also the PSAC Digital Network.
If you're buzzed and doing this to make yourself feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive.
To quote Bruno Mars, guess who's back again? It is me, Nate Kurtz. Alongside me, John Sape. A 41 to 25-point game here with 3 minutes and 43 seconds left on the clock. California down currently to Wilmington of Delaware and the Wildcats. Coach Dan Burke having a word, or a few words really, with Ram Alexander and Denham Perkins.
I was told some interesting information before the game that our producer Gary Smith wanted me to share. Denham Perkins a native from Dover, Delaware, and he informed me that Dover, sister city of Gibbonglade, Pennsylvania. People are saying.
So people are saying that Denham from Dover is from Dover, which is the sister city of Gibbonglade.
Yes.
Stalman Alexander is going to make the two. 27-41 the score.
There's also a lot of denim there as well.
Denham as Denham Perkins takes this one up half court. He's going to send this on over to Hareem Alexander. His first time on the court tonight. Tough defense from Alexander is going to give Jihad Simpson a bit of trouble. Perez with it. Deep three by Perez is no good, and that one's going to end up in the hands of Alexander. Over to Pollock, down for Caden Hanna. He went digging in the paint, found nothing. Keandre DeShields is going to take the top of the corner three. But Cam Pollock, thanks for slowing it down. I sort of minced over my own words there. Pollock over to Moy, freshman out of Badger, Ohio. Moy over to Alexander. This one's going to stay here. That one going to go against Munir Waller. It's going to send Dalvin Alexander to the line again. I swear, it's been one of the only Vulcans actually going to the line here so far this afternoon.
Alexander 6 for 6 from the free throw line in this game.
Seven for 7. Thankfully, you didn't jinx him. Trey Hawkins going to come back onto the court now. Off goes Munir Waller. Silence overcomes the court of Hamer Hall. Historic Hamer Hall, that is. And I jinx Dalvin Alexander, who is now 7 for 8 from the free throw line, but creates a 28-41 score line. A little less than 3 here. Perez at the top of the key. Some quick ball movement on the side of the Wildcats. Perkins, top of the key, is going to hand that down to Hawkins. Hawkins goes up with it, misses it once more. Ball goes out of bounds. That one's going to get called in favor of the Wildcats. I thought of that one. Went off of Hawkins. But instead, Perkins is going to be the one inbounding it for Wilmington. Perkins looks at Perez. Isn't going to take it. Instead, hands it out. Alexander. Doesn't matter, though. Perez has it at the top of the key. Perkins calls in the screen. He's not going to take it. Instead, he's going to give it back down to Hawkins. Hawkins goes up for 2. Misses it. Rebound from Duncan Moy. Bit of a messy offensive sequence from the Wildcats. No messy from Keandre DeShields. What an insane layup that was for him. That's going to give him the and one attempt to make this a 29-41 game.
Clean that time from Keandre DeShields. Great pass up ahead by Moy and just Euro stepping into the lane. Takes the contact, makes the layup. Can't convert the three-point play though, but Alexander, offensive board.
That's going to be the timeout called by Coach Dan Birkin. While he's no Lionel, he's still messy. That's when I call Keandre DeShields. 24 points in his last game. He was able to put up a very good move there to get him to the line. And while he does not convert the free throw, Alexander is going to grab the rebound. And
well, 2 points is better than 1. So.
2 points is better than 1. And I mean, if you're looking at the scoreboard,
it's really hard to argue that.
Well, I don't know math very well. I still have yet to take a college math course. So unfortunately, I cannot tell you the law of averages or anything about statistics.
I've completed 2 college math courses here at this fine campus, and I can't say I can tell you much either.
Can you ever really tell me much of anything?
What?
Give me a wise quote here while we're waiting for these Vulcans and these Wildcats. Do you have anything? Any words of wisdom?
Any words of wisdom? Well, I was thinking about the graduation going on today, commencement ceremony, and we had there was a student speaker up there. I can't remember her name at the moment, but something that I always remembered was you can never something along the lines of you never remember when you always think about what the good times were, and you don't think about them until you're not in them anymore. So we're in the good times now.
Absolutely, and even though you can recognize them now, I don't think you'll ever really feel how good they were until afterwards. And for these Vulcans, got to be feeling a little bit better. The three-point attempt coming in on the side of Jihad Simpson finds nothing. Quick movement on the ball for the California Vulcans. Keandre DeShields with it. Has that one over to Hanna. Fakes the ball movement to the outside. Goes for the layup. No good. Perkins moving it up half court. Perkins on Moy. Size difference there. Counter to Shields, gets the steal. Dalman Alexander finds it. Duncan Moy carrying it over the half-court line. Keandre Shields on the near side, takes the threes, that one good. No, bounces in off the rim, and just as I say it's no good, it takes one bounce and gives us a Kawhi Leonard reminiscent moment. Gets the three on the board for California.
Friendly bounce, 14-0 run here for the Vulcans down the stretch here at the end of this first half.
Seniority on the court for California as well. Cam Pollock, Caden Hanna out there giving the veteran presence they so desperately need as the three's going to come in from Haram Alexander. Breaks the nothing streak. With seconds on the clock, 35-44. Cam Pollock struggling. Over to DeShields. Hanna brings it up to the top of the key. He's going to drive that one into the lane. That one's going to roll its way in, and that's going to send him to the free throw line with the chance to make this even closer. And as he said, I mean, it was looking really rough there, down almost 20, and I mean, this is now looking like the definition of a BALL game. Let's go ball.
We're in for a barn burner, so to speak. It was looking rough for the Vulcans, but like I said, at some point, the shots just have to go in. If you keep taking them, they will just eventually fall. And the Vulcans have kind of maintained that philosophy. They've had some better looks. They've been playing cleaner on the offensive side, been able to move the ball around, get good sets, and have just been able to finally convert on these shots. At one point, they were like 2 for 20, now 9 for 26 from the field, so they've really been able to turn it around.
Perkins now playing to the shoot clock. Perkins over to Perez. Shot clock. I know what I meant, and I meant to say it. Shout out to our defense, Jonathan Sakaguchi. That one's going to be kicked out to the wing for Cradle. Cradle's going to try and cradle that one in. No good from him, but we'll find the foul from Caden Hanna, I believe. That one's going to send him to the line.
Beautiful move that time. If he gets that one to go, the entire Wildcat bench is going to go crazy. Just up and under the rim, try to with the reverse layup with the left hand, and just couldn't quite get it over, but drew just enough contact.
You know, it's almost been 2 years since Johnny did say on that broadcast that it was not in fact the shot clock, but instead the shoot clock. So
we don't have to shout him out.
No, we don't have to.
We don't have to.
No, I absolutely will, because you know what? It's commencement day, and he's an alumni of this grand university, an alumni of CUTV, and I believe that game would have been away at Gannon last 2 years ago in January, I believe. Timeout's going to be called by California. He's going to stay here with us. Unfortunately, don't get a timeout, so we unfortunately do have to hear me and my good friend John Sape speak for a little bit more. And in an 8-point game now, with 8 seconds on the clock, what do you think Coach Sankum can really do at this time?
Just drawing up one final good play. You know, just getting out there, advancing the ball, just trying to make sure everybody's on the same page. And you've come back from, you're down almost, the biggest lead was 20 points at one point. So you brought it back down to 8. Just get one good final play off. Hopefully you knock down the shot and either cut it to a 6 or a 5-point game going into half. And after that, anything is possible. You know, it's really a toss-up in the second half. You just got to make the adjustments. But 8 seconds on the clock, California have the ball.
Dalman Alexander, he's going to drive the baseline. Only going to be tipped out of bounds by Munir Waller. So now with 2.7 on the clock, it's going to make this a little bit tougher. If anything, actually, it may make it a little bit easier, as enough time to sort of calm themselves down and get themselves into a set. P2 football update. Valdosta State takes the win over Minnesota State. And as we currently speak, Slippery Rock, the PSAC representatives in the Final Four, take a 7-0 lead over Ferris State. It's Cam Pollock inbounds the ball to Keandre Shields. No time left on the clock. He's going to huck it up. That one's going to be no good. Going into halftime, 46-38 the score. The Wilmington Wildcats take the lead here. You're watching CUTV Sports 1 on Cablecast and the PSAC Sports Digital Network, along with 91.9 FM. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen.
Coach Danny Sancombe and the Vulcans men's basketball is ready to take the conference and the nation by storm this season. A non-conference schedule that starts on November 8th is followed by the PSAC West play in January. Pack the Convocation Center with 13 home games featuring non-conference foes such as Concord, Lincoln, and Wilmington, as well as conference opponents IUP, Gannon, Slippery Rock, Clarion, Edinboro, Seton Hill, and Pitt Johnstown. Follow Cal Vulcans for the all-up-to-date schedule. Catch all the games on YouTube with CUTV Sports 1 and also the PSAC Digital Network.
If you're buzzed and doing this to make yourself feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive.
Welcome back, everybody, into historic Hamer Hall. And for a barn burner here, as California Vulcans ended the first half with a nice run there, 46 to 38. Almost thought that said 40. It's a bit tough to see here from the top of Hamer Hall. California Vulcans have their eyes set on the comeback here this afternoon, and it's been a pretty tight, matchup here in the final 5 of the first. But if you were looking and watching this game anytime before the 6-minute mark of the first half, things would have been different, wouldn't they?
Yeah, it just was not a clean first half by either team, so to speak, but the Vulcans really started to pick it up at the end of that second half, got more comfortable, and are somehow in this game shooting a better percentage from the field compared to Wilmington. Both teams 9 for 27. The Vulcans 9 for 27, Wilmington 9 for 28. The Vulcans 3 for 16 from behind the arc compared to 7 for 12 from the Wildcats. It's a 58% clip. Wilmington perfect, 21 for 21 from the free throw line. Vulcan 17 for 20. That's really been the big discrepancy is that turnover 6 for the Vulcans compared to the 3 for Wilmington. And Wilmington 30 points from their players off the bench compared to only 6 for the Vulcans.
And struggling to shoot were both of these teams for a while in the first half. During that first media timeout, there was only a 6-4 score. Things definitely shook up, and as you can see on the scoreboard at home, ended very differently for the first half, but we're waiting for the clock to start. It's going to be Jihad Simpson inbounding it to Denham Perkins to start off the second half. California looks to see if they can bring the boom in this second half. Trey Hawkins with it. Perkins, top of the key, dumps that one down to Perez. Perez lobs it down to Hawkins. Looks for the post move, finds nothing. Munir Waller with it, driving into the lane. He's going to take the layup, no good. One rebounded by Caden Hanna. That one's going to go up to Jordan Buchanan. That one's going to be knocked away by Trey Hawkins. California will retain possession of the ball, but Jordan Buchanan on an open breakaway is not able to come away with the points.
Just great recovery defense that time by Hawkins, just not giving up on the play at all.
Gunther to inbound Alexander, who tries the hook move. No good, but he taps the ball out, Gunther, and gets it back. Alexander driving through 2 guys into the paint. Duncan Moy with the putback tap. No good. Excuse me, that was Caden Hanna. It's going to be Munir Waller driving into the lane now. No good. Block by Dalman Alexander, goes out of bounds. It's going to send the Wildcats to the baseline to inbound the ball.
Just great defensive piece of athleticism that time by Alexander, just reading the play the whole way, just able to follow it along and is able to get a hand on the ball.
Great defense by Team Gunther. Reads that pass perfectly, knocks it out of bounds. Trey Hawkins wasn't able to get a hold of it. So 18 on the shot clock now, 11:06 on the game. 19:06, excuse me. Tough to see. Perkins to inbound. Dumps that one down to Perez. Buchanan gets the hand in there, but no good from him. It's going to be 2 points. Justin Perez. Gunther going to kick that one over the half-court line. Caden Hanna with it. He's going to drive into the lane. The reverse layup is no good from him. Flashy move was a little too much and cost the Vulcans 2 points.
I think he could have just went up with the right hand on the near side, but I think he thought the defender would close out and maybe interfere with it, so decided to go for the reverse layup on the other side. Just couldn't quite get that one to go, and Coach Sankum was not happy about that one. His fight for the rebound underneath the Vulcan basket results in a foul against California.
And Gunther's already going to have to come out of the game. Plays for Keandre DeShields now. And, I mean, that's a shot Caden Hanna does almost every single time during warm-up, so it's not something that he's unfamiliar with. But yeah, I think you were right. I think he could have just gone up for the easy layup. But, thinking defender's going to close out on him and makes the wrong move in that case, but doesn't cost them too much. 38-48, 10-point game for the Vulcans. Perkins with the ball, free throw line. Nice defense by Dalman Alexander. Trey Hawkins with it. Draws the foul out from Cam Polak. I think that one was called a little late. It didn't seem like there was much motion after or during the shot, excuse me. That's going to send Trey Hawkins to the line.
Just a great abuse of the switch that time. Polak and Alexander switching defenders that time, and Hawkins just a way bigger body compared to Polak. Hawkins 6'7" compared to Polak 6'2", just able to take advantage of the mismatch, get good positioning inside, and forces Polak to foul even after he made the basket.
And that one is no good from Hawkins. Buchanan with the ball now takes it up. That one is laid in. 40-50 the score now. Perkins taking it over the half-court line. Over to Waller. To Perez for the deep three on the near side. That one is good. 53-40.
Just a beautiful shot that time. Buchanan played some great defense, but good offense will beat good defense every single time. And
seems like there was a bit of difficulty getting back from the full court. Wildcats able to find it though. Caden Hanna for three. That one is no good. Bounces right off the rim. That one's going to go out of bounds. That one's going to be tapped by Justin Perez. That's going to be the ball in favor of the California Vulcans.
The Vulcans 1 for 6 to start this second half. Kind of eerily similar to how they started that first half, just really cold from the field, especially from behind the arc. Now shooting 3 for 17 on the afternoon from three.
Alexander dumps that one back to Polak, who's going to take the three. No good from him. And that will be another missed opportunity on offense for these California Vulcans. They've missed a lot of opportunities to score the basket here tonight. It's really cost them the box score department. Trey Hawkins, double team does not go well for California, and instead it allows him to go into the paint. Does not come out of the paint with anything. Instead, turns the ball back over to California. Polak on the near side. Driving into the free throw line. Caden Hanna with it now, driving into the paint. Finds nothing, ball knocked out.
Thought that time Hanna nearly lost the handle on it, but just able to keep possession of it enough as he was driving into the lane and draws the contact. That's the third foul I believe they just called for Trey Hawkins. Something to keep an eye out on down the stretch here.
And that one bounces after Caden Hanna. Hawkins going to go to the bench now. Coming in for him, Amiri Bowers, sophomore at Chicago, Illinois, and Hillcrest. 2-8 Wildcats have a 13-point lead here in the second over the formerly nationally ranked California Vulcans. This will be a big win for them after losing the nationally ranked Pace. So far, it's looking pretty good for them. Keandre DeShield has a bit of a mix-up on the switch. Ball goes to Perez, back to Perkins. Screen coming in from Jahad Simpson. Perkins to the outside. That's the drive in by Munir Waller. Bit of a mess after the missed shot. Out of bounds goes the ball in favor of Wilmington.
That time the ball just kind of falling in a bit of a limbo as nobody really seemed to know what to do with it. And the referee signaled that Hanna just got a piece of it as it was falling down and just poked that one out of bounds.
Horsey finds his way back onto the court. Simpson with it. Hands that one back down to Perkins off the inbound. Perez top of the key driving in. Three defenders in his way. Stolen away by Caden Henn, who's going to drive his way up the floor. Caught up by two defenders. Loses the ball. Horsey with it. Near Bowers now. He's going to lob that one up to Jahad Simpson. And the alley-oop attempt is good for the Wilmington Wildcats. And things are not looking too great for the California Vulcans, are they, John?
That's just kind of been the story of this game, right? Is fast break opportunity, great recovery defense by the Wildcats, and then you capitalize on the other end. Just a nice transition from back to front to back again, just up and down the court. The Wildcats have really just been a step ahead every bit of the way.
And I mean, just a missed three by Cam Polak, wide open. Transition finds nothing. Instead, the ball goes back over in the hands of the Wildcats. They don't find anything. Goes back again in favor of the Vulcans, and an electric block on the sign-up. I believe that was Simpson again. California able to come out with a three, though, and although it's an 11-point game, I can definitely see that the bench energy and the overall energy on the court is favoring the team in the green and not the team in the red.
Just a disgusting block that time by Simpson, but great awareness by Alexander right there. He's able to grab the rebound, kick it out to Buchanan, who's able to knock down the three. 14 points now for him, leading all scorers.
Perez bumped around a little bit, but no trouble for him. He's going to find the deep two. Buchanan now to inbound. 14:50 on the clock. The Shield's picking it up now. Half court now broken. Alexander to Polak. The half court logo. Off-ball motion coming in. Keandre DeShields almost broken up by Horsey. Keandre DeShields takes the mid-range. No good, tried to bounce that one off the glass. Instead, it goes to Perkins. Perkins brings that one up the half-court line. Brooks, Moy, and Cradle in the scorer's table waiting to check in. Keandre DeShields playing tough defense on Horsey. Horsey goes up and is going to draw the foul out from DeShields. Too handsy, as I said, he was playing a little tough there, and fortunately that's going to end not favorably for him, and that's going to send Bolton's team back to the bench, and will send us to I believe, our first media timeout. We're going to keep it here, though, and 57-44 the score. 14-13 on the clock as it currently stands, and I don't want to say the California Vulcans have found their footing again, because obviously I think they're still having some trouble keeping themselves in this game, whether that be momentum-wise and shooting-wise, but I think they've definitely found some part of their game.
Well, they did at the end of that first half. It really looked like they had started to put the pieces together and started to figure it out, but at the beginning of this second half here, 2 for 11 from the field, 1 for 4 from 3. It just have not been able to find the shots necessary. And on the game, they're shooting 20% from 3, 28.9% from the field in general. So just not a great offensive display here by the Vulcans. But you would hope that the shots will eventually start to fall. But as the game is starting to go on later and later, it just seems like that hasn't been the case. And they just kind of look uncomfortable, especially on the offensive side of the ball. When they have possession, they really don't seem to have kind of a clear-cut plan, or whenever they have the ball, it seems like Wilmington has really been able to just throw bodies at them, have really passed through them, and has really made it hard for this Vulcan offense to really get going at all. And I'm going to give them all the credit in the world. They've played phenomenally so far in this game, and they've really deserved to have this lead. And so they ran through the gauntlet earlier on in the PSAC. They played a lot of tough opponents, have Wilmington, and I think it would kind of mean a lot as they're going to start to get into conference play as well here to really end it off on a good note here, getting a win in the historic Hamer Hall.
I think the uncomfortable analogy is actually kind of perfect there. It's almost as if talking to that uncle at the wedding or at the family reunion that you haven't talked to in like 8 years, but remembers all the details of you as a kid. So you kind of just have to awkwardly sit there and just go, yeah.
Or when everyone's singing happy birthday to you and you really just don't know what to do. It just feels weird. You don't really know. You don't want to be there. You don't know what's going on.
It's reminiscent of last year at baseball. I don't know if you remember during your 22nd, or that would have been your 21st birthday. Did have to sing happy birthday as per request, but fortunately I don't think it's too awkward for us right now, as I think we're watching a pretty good basketball game. 58-44 the score here. Duncan Moore, Eli Brooks checking in for the California Vulcans. And I do believe that was Jalen Cradle who checked back into the game. Caden Hanna goes up for the shot, no good from him. And I think they wanted the foul call, but nothing was spoken. Perkins with it, over to Cradle. Some life coming into the California bench. Stables getting a bit louder. Horsey with it. Gallops his way to the outside. Isaiah Cradle's going to take the deep three. That one no good. Bounces off the backboard. Moy with it. Far side. Looks to drive in. Spin move from him. Kicks it over to Brooks. Brooks over to Moy. Moy from 3. That one is too far. That one is overshot. Perkins receives the bounce pass. That one's going to be given to Horsey for 3. Yay for him. 22 is the number of Caden Hanna. 22 is the guy who's going to inbound. That's Cam Pollock. Bounce in between him and Moy.
It just seems that every time the Vulcans have a chance to capitalize on either a missed shot or a misplay by the Wildcats, they just aren't able to do so, where it seems like every time there is a misplay by the Vulcans, the Wildcats jump at the offers. Like transition 3, Moy airballs it, and then they come back down and now hit 2 threes back-to-back in a row. And Coach Sangham's going to take a timeout as they brought it down to 5 at the end of the half, and now it was down to 8, at the end of the first half, and now 18-6 run to start the second half for Wilmington, back to kind of taking it over here.
I mean, you cut this game down to almost, that would have been an 8-point deficit, and it's now back down to 20, or now back up to 20, excuse me. And I mean, I think Coach Sankum is just taking a minute to talk to his assistants and Coach Bridgman and Coach McCray, and you know, it's tough to even think of what you're going to say to your guys. It's been such a game, and I don't know how you talk to both of them.
Again, it's really hard. This stretch of play for the Vulcans has been difficult, and they've been missing a ton of key players, and you just got to think that this stretch of losses has really kind of weighed on them here. It's kind of brought them down, and I think what was looking to be a super promising season against still can be. I mean, the conference, they've only played 3 games in conference, and they have an entire slate of conference play starting on Tuesday from here on out. So you have a chance to kind of right the wrongs and steer your season back on course. But it's been hard. It's been difficult for them to really get things going here, and I think you got to kind of do a Monday morning quarterback type situation where you just need to block out all of the mistakes, everything that you're doing wrong. You kind of just got to move past it, because at this point you're down by 20. If you want to have any sort of say in this game with the last 12 and a half minutes left, you need to kind of get a fresh start, get a fresh mind out there, and you can't really let it weigh you down, because if you do, there's no way you're going to be able to escape the sinking ship if you're weighed down.
Cannon, the current leading scorer for the Vulcans, 14 points. 2 Wilmington Wildcats, Mary Bowers and Jalen Horsey on 12 points, leading them. Buchanan, the ball. This one's getting kicked around the wing. Pollock. One's going to be shot down to Brooks. Brooks is going to give it to Alexander. Mishandles it. One's going to go in favor of the Vulcans. They're going to retain possession. Caden Hanna will replace Eli Brooks on the court.
And the Vulcans scoreless for their last 3 minutes, 1 for their last 10 from the field. And that coincides with a Wilmington 9-0 run.
Pollock to inbound. Finds Buchanan. Kicks it out to DeShields. DeShields going to find his way to the inside. No good from him. Mess for the rebound, though. Shot clock goes off. That one's not going to be counted. I don't know why that one wasn't reset, as the Vulcans did get the rebound. And I think what they're going to do here is reset the shot clock and give the Vulcans a chance to inbound the ball for a fresh possession.
I think if you're California, you would have just rather had the 2 points that Alexander just had, but at the end of the day, you still get the shot back, you still get the ball.
Yeah, I mean, if you think that the clock only just drained down further on the game clock, because we're down to 11:55 here now. Cam Pollock for the strange turnaround jumper from deep 2. Finds it, though. 46-64 the score.
9 points now for Pollock.
Amir Bowers with it. He's going to keep it. Nice move to drop Alexander. Doesn't get anything out of it, though. It's Perkins on the far side with it. Brings it up to the key, driving into the lane. Defense by Pollock, no good, but misses the shot. Picked back up by Bowers. Nice dribble moves by him. Tough defense by Alexander, knocks the ball out. Rebounded and taken away by Caden Hanna. Over to DeShields. DeShields driving his way to the inside, no good, but foul coming in. Isaiah Cradle, and that will send DeShields to the line.
That's exactly what you have to do in transition. Hanna, you receive the ball after Alexander's able to poke it away. You push the ball in transition. You get the ball up ahead to your scorers, and that time DeShields able to find himself in the lane.
It's going to send us commercial here on CUTV Sports 1, PSAC Digital Sports Network, and 91.9 FM. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. You got an action-packed second half right after this.
Coach Danny Sancombe and the Vulcans men's basketball is ready to take the conference and the nation by storm this season. A non-conference schedule that starts on November 8th is followed by the PSAC West play in January. Pack the Convocation Center with 13 home games featuring non-conference foes such as Concord, Lincoln, and Wilmington, as well as conference opponents IUP, Gannon, Slippery Rock, Clarion, Edinboro, Seton Hill, and Pitt Johnstown. Follow Cal Vulcans for the all-up-to-date schedule. Catch all the games on YouTube with CUTV Sports 1 and also the PSAC Digital Network.
If you're buzzed and doing this to make yourself feel okay to drive, You're not okay to drive.
Welcome back to Historic Hamer Hall, ladies and gentlemen. And for our barn burner here, 64-46 the score. Vulcans have had a bit of a rough run in this second half here, going into almost a halfway point of the second. But fortunately for them, I think they've been able to figure out what is working and what's not. I don't think the three balls really worked for them. So they've been trying to force that ball into the inside, and Keandre DeShields before the break went in for the transition layup. Found nothing but got fouled. Sends him to the line. For a D2 football update, 21-14 is the score. Ferris State down against Slippery Rock. The only PSAC representative left in the NCAA football playoffs.
If you want a positive this game for the Vulcans, Dalman Alexander with a double-double, 11 points, 10 boards in this game.
Jordan Buchanan grabbed the rebound off of the Keandre DeShields miss. And I think it's going to get called. So they called a foul on the Jordan Buchanan shot. So now Keandre DeShields and Jordan Buchanan are just going to be trading places. And Buchanan will be taking a shot from the free throw line. And that one is no good.
DeShields now 1 for 5 from the free throw line. And the first miss for Buchanan going in that 4 for 5. And if you're the Vulcans, you need to capitalize on this. You can't leave any points on the board. Like I always say, when I play basketball, my coaches are like, they're literally free points. You have to make them.
It's very simple but very astute reasoning for saying what you did.
Shout out Scott Bauer and Paul Morris. I said they're called free throws for a reason, that they're free points. And if you don't make them, then you're just a detriment to the team.
Force you for three, no good. Polak will now take it over the half court. Near side wing, hands that to Buchanan, kicks that over to Hanna. Down to Alexander, who's going to drive in. Dalman Alexander, foul alone should have been called a travel. No call, though. Fortunately, no basket. Lob up on the side of the Wildcats. Nothing. Tapped out by Perkins. And that will be Vulcan's ball.
I think you can just kind of tell that they're feeling themselves in this game. They have a comfortable lead, 17 points with 10.5 left. The Vulcans are not out of it by any stretch, but you can tell that the Wildcats are just trying to have some fun out there. Just maybe not the most opportune time or the ideal lob in that situation, as it not only is it really the best place to do it, but it doesn't result in the basket. But they're having fun, and you can tell.
Sometimes when you're just feeling the game, all you got to do is make those plays, because even though they may not be the wisest, it keeps your motivation, it keeps your energy up, and it keeps the team in the game. Just becomes something you really need to watch, especially if the score starts to turn and the table starts to turn. Not really the case for the Wildcats, though, as Perkins is going to take the deep three. No good. And that one's going to get called a late foul on Cam Polak, shooting against Perkins. That's going to send him to the line.
Yeah, it was just a super, super late call that time. And it seems like there's a bit of a misconception, as Perkins thought that he was going to the line. But, again, we've seen that a couple of times where it's going to be a technical foul against Perkins, as Polak going to go to the line to shoot the technical free throw, as they thought that Perkins was sticking his leg out to try to draw the contact.
Yeah, and Perkins now talking to the official, because that one even tricked me. I mean, I'm not even going to lie. I thought Perkins was able to draw the contact, and that's what they called. Just a little bit late there, but good on the officials. Kept themselves nice and composed.
It also seemed like from the reactions of the Vulcans players that they thought it was a foul as well, so
that's going to be another foul on Perkins.
Yeah, 2 back-to-back. That's his third. So a couple players on third. Bowers, Hawkins, and now Perkins all on 3 fouls for the Wildcats.
Nothing really gained for the Wildcats from this. Perkins picks up 2 fouls, and just a rip from Jordan Buchanan to Caden Hanna. No good for anything, though. Caden Hanna forces up the shot, and unfortunately, the Vulcans walk away with no points.
Struggling in this game. Hanna, 6 points, 2 for 10 from the field. Just not been his afternoon offensively.
And on the huck there, no good. Keandre DeShields on the inside. He's going to throw that one over to Caden Hanna. He's going to miss the dunk. That one got enough contact. DeShields grabs the rebound as it rolls its way off the side of the rim. That one put right back up. And just another I don't want to say unfortunate because it's not really unfortunate, but just not a good sequence from the
It's
Vulcans.
just one of those games, right? You know, just everybody who ever played sports just has had one of those where it just seems like nothing goes your way, and it seems like any time the Vulcans have an opportunity to kind of push it, they haven't been able to convert.
And a beautiful play by Cam Pollock, not able to be capitalized on. Rebound by Hannah, then capitalized by Dalman Alexander. Great transition play from Pollock. Perkins going to be taking it over the logo. Reem Alexander with it. He's going to send that one over to Sampson. Drops the defender, Hannah. Careful with the feet moves, hands it over to Perkins at the top of the key. Three from Perez is no good, bounces off the rim. Taken away by the Shields. That one, I don't know if that one was grabbed or I don't know if that one was called a foul on the side of the Wildcats. That one's going to be called a foul. It's going to go into Haram Alexander.
After that last basket for Alexander, 13 points, 12 rebounds, and 2 blocks in the game for Dahlman. Only shooting 3 for 11 from the field. Has made 7 out of his 8 free throws. So where he's been lacking the shot making, he has been able to convert on the free throw end of it.
Andre Haram, rather halal. It's 8:20 on the clock. 64-50 is the score. Duncan Moy with it. Over to Pollock. Far side is Cam Pollock, the transfer from Westchester. Missed all of last year except for one game. Comes back in this year. Duncan Moy throws it over to Dalman from 3. Completely wide open. Not able to find it. Rebounded by the Shields. Nice little no-look pass from him and Duncan Moy. The freshman-to-freshman connection puts the Vulcans back on the board and will put us into another timeout. What a nice little offensive sequence there from the California Vulcans. Puts them back on the board. Nothing really special, but just pretty enough to get the job done, right?
But it's just something that we haven't seen a lot from the Vulcans in this game is we haven't really seen them move the ball a whole lot. When they have the ball outside, they take a couple of screens, they pass it off, they reset, they screen again, just trying to find these open passes. We don't really see a lot of penetrating drives, kick-outs, pass-outs, but that time it was DeShields getting an offensive board, great positioning by him on the inside, just left, no one boxed him out, and you saw him, instead of going up to attempt to take the shot, he dished it back to Moy, who had better positioning on the inside, was able to get his first basket of the game. And so you kind of see, you start to think if this is how they would have played the entire game, how differently it would be. But you still got 8 minutes. You're only down 12 points. Like I said, you're not entirely out of it yet, but you need, if you want to start a comeback, you really need to start doing it right now.
And the PSAC West looks a little, I don't want to say a little different. Actually, it looks a lot different when you count last year. Only one team that really looks to be really in place here. Again, Golden Knights, 8-2 overall record, 4-0 in conference. UPJ, 7-4 overall. So nice little bounce back season from them so far. 3-1 in conference, 2-2 in conference record for Seton Hill, taking the 3rd place, 9-2 overall. Clarion, 2-2 in conference, 7-3. The IUP Crimson Hawks 2-2, 5-5. Slippery Rock 2-2, 5-6. Your California Vulcans 1-3, 6-5, and finally to close out the PSAC West, Edinburgh 1-3, 4-6. So even for the worst team in the West, they'd still probably be 3rd or 4th in the East. Just telling you how strong basketball is out here in the PSAC West. It's going to be inbounded by the Wildcats. Perkins having a bit of trouble with it. Jumped on by Alexander. I think he tried to call the timeout before anything happened, and Perkins is now grabbing at the ankle.
Waiting to see the official call because it looked like the referee signaled a foul on the floor because he had the arm up in the air. It's like Perkins able to get back to his feet. I think they're going to get him for another foul, and if that's the case, that's a really tough one. That'd be his 4th foul, and looks like the referee's over there to discuss it. But going back to the discussion about the conference standings, I don't want to say that it matters quite yet, as Coach Burke is trying to get some sort of explanation from the referee, because like I said, the referee on the near side called a foul. He had his arm up in the air. He signaled a foul called, so Coach Burke is just trying to get all his ducks in a row, everything straightened up and figured out here. I guess it's just no longer a foul, and nothing's been called. I really don't understand.
Okay, Jam City, Dalman Alexander. Yeah, from confusion comes clarity, and clarity, Dalman Alexander.
I think Confucius said that as well.
I mean, there's a real chance. I'm still trying to grasp what just happened.
10-0 run now for the Vulcans here.
So Perkins goes down, the foul gets removed. Perkins now on the bench. Horsey comes in. Inbound to Dalman Alexander. Throws that one down. You can definitely see the life in the Vulcans bench now. Bowers with it. That one's going to get called off. That one's going to stay down here.
Right now, Wilmington haven't scored a basket in 5 minutes. And I don't really understand what just happened down there. The Vulcans will take it nonetheless, but we saw Alexander on the floor try to call timeout, so I don't know if they charged the Vulcans for a timeout. They didn't give anybody a foul, so I have no idea what just happened.
I think that's why Coach Dan Burke was a little bit animated and a little loud there when trying to question what just happened. As Perez goes in for the 2, not found. Taken back though, tough defense, and shot attempt by Manir Waller is no good. And Coach Sankum having words and turning a little red there. And
I think he said, and I quote, "Don't be soft, just grab it." I think those are some wise words to live by.
So that is in fact what she said. As Cam Pollock takes the defense, flop attempt by Jaden Horsey, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm trying to keep myself composed here. There's just a lot going on right now. Jalen Horsey with the ball over to Perez, far side wing for Bowers. Horsey hands it off to Perez, over to Waller. From the far side 3 is Mary Bowers, and that one is good. 13-point lead, 66-54 is the score here. 6 minutes and 30 seconds on the clock.
Bowers now 3 for 4 from the 3-point line in this game. Has really been an outlet on the outside for the Wildcats.
And Keontae Shields is going to draw a foul from Trey Hawkins. And I believe that one's going to force Trey Hawkins out of the game. It will. It's his 4th of the game. Caden Hanna now coming in for Duncan Moy.
And Hawkins has been pretty integral, 8 points, 6 boards for him, and he's just a big body you want to have inside, and so they're going to substitute him out and just try to maintain him so they can bring him back in the last couple of minutes when things potentially could go down to the wire.
Nice dribble move by Cam Pollock. 3-pointer is good from him. Nice move from him is going to be negated from the 3. That was foot was over the line, so correct myself. That was a 2-pointer. Just a nice looking deep 2, and from what was a 20-something point deficit, now down to a 10-point deficit. Mary Bowers with it. Top of the key, brings it down in. Inside of the paint against Dalman Alexander. Tough defense. Works in favor for California. Buchanan with it on the near side wing. Buchanan driving to the free throw line, kicks it over to Caden Hanna. Had shooting troubles here so far today, and the shooting troubles continue for him. No good from 3.
It just seems that time it was a little bit rushed by the Vulcans. Thought Hanna maybe could have swung it over, but he had Polak to his right.
Simpson for the shot. No good from him. Jahad Simpson misses that one. Cam Polak has the half-court line, and seems like he wants to take it quickly. Goes in for the soft lay-in. That one just rolls not in favor. The Vulcans walk away from another offensive possession with no points, and I mean, if I had a nickel for every time they'd done that tonight, I'd be able to probably be able to buy like a mid-2010 Subaru or something. Nothing too special, but done a decent bit here tonight. It's the foul by Caden Hanna. It's going to send Waller to the line.
Yeah, and one. The Vulcans 16 for 59 from the field in this game. For any of you that are good at math, that is 27.1% from the field. Wilmington, not much better, 18 for 54. It's 33.3% repeating. And it seemed like that one, the Vulcans were on a run there as they started to try to claw things back, and three-point play can kind of swing the momentum back into the favor of Wilmington here.
69 nice to 56. Shields with the ball over to Polak. Alexander with it. Back to Polak. Sounds like a good defense waiting for everybody to get into place. Caden Hanna Alexander, Hannah, Pollock takes the three from the corner. That one no good, rebounded by Hannah, kicked back out to DeShields. Hesitate. Will not gain him a shot, but instead will call a foul against Jalen Horsey. It'll be his third of the game. That's going to send Keandre DeShields for the line. As you mentioned earlier, he's had a bit of trouble shooting here from the charity stripe. Will he be able to reverse those woes and put the California Vulcans in more favorable position? Yes, he will. With the first.
Now 2 for 6 on the afternoon. And in this game, the Vulcans 20 for 27, or 21 for 28 now from the free throw line compared to 23 for 25 of Wilmington. They've really been able to capitalize on it. 92% from the free throw line is Wilmington.
And DeShields again, another miss from the free throw line. Costs the team a chance at an 11-point game. And Cam Pollock goes down from the screen from Simpson. That's going to create an odd man rush, but it doesn't really matter. California gets the ball back. DeShields in transition is going to give that over to Buchanan. I wonder when this one's going to be called. Don't know if this is going to be called a foul against Simpson or not.
They're going to call that one against Perkins. That's his fourth. So 2 players on 4 fouls for Wilmington now, and Alexander finds his way to the line to shoot 1 of 1.
So Perkins now finally picks up his fourth. No, that one is for sure. And Alexander hits his 1 of 1. And I believe that's going to take Perkins back out, yeah, and that's going to send Mary Bowers back in.
And Perkins in this game, 9 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, and a steal. Just really the on-ball facilitator so far in this game for the Wildcats.
You know, good for him too. 5'7" frame, grabbing 4 rebounds. I mean, that is shorter than I am, and I am 5'8", 220. So
they say might is taller than height or something. I don't know. You always try to get me to say something profound.
Oh yeah, what do you say? Something profound. See, you've done it multiple times here so far this afternoon, and it's been something sorely missed here on CUTV Sports 1 on Cablecast, YouTube, and the PSAC Sports Digital Network. No good from Alexander. Rebounded by DeShields. Not really finding much of the ball. Handsy defense. No good for DeShields, and the full court press coming in from the Vulcans. Simpson has the ball, hands it over to Horsey. Waller at the near side, at the far side scorer's table. Looks to just play the clock out. Top of the key. Takes DeShields on defense. Kicks that one back out to Horsey. Waller takes the drive in on DeShields, and that one is good. Nice little reverse layup in for him. 71-58 to score. Pressure from Buchanan. He wants to look at that, and he will take that look and grab it too. Back-to-back buckets. Alexander losing his footing.
Yeah, I'm not surprised that Wilmington decided to slow things down here. You want to limit the amount of offensive possessions California has down the stretch here.
And Dalman Alexander playing a little too tight. You can see he's trying to keep himself nice and contested towards these guys, but he's losing his footing a lot. Keandre DeShields is going to take this one up the far side. Brings it in on the near. Is he going to get that layup? No. Keandre DeShields with another miss here. Struggled here so far tonight as Jameer Bowers almost loses the ball to Buchanan. He's struggling against Buchanan right now. Bowers gets it over to Horsey. Finds Alexander on the inside. Alexander with the block attempt is no good. Instead, will take Horsey down and send him to the free throw line.
Yeah, after that last miss, DeShields 2 for 12 from the field. And if you're Wilmington, you can kind of, I'm not going to say it is the dagger, but you can kind of assume that that is kind of what the straw that broke the camel's back, that kind of just puts the game out of bed. Just great drive inside, and Alexander just trying to go up to contest to make a play, but just over there too late. Creates the contact, and Horsey able to make the layup. 14 points now for him, tied with Bowers for the leaders for Wilmington, and has a chance to convert the three-point play after the immediate timeout.
And unfortunately, I think one of the hallmarks of the defense. Sorry, music got like very loud there for a second. One of the hallmarks of the defensive side of the ball for Dalman Alexander is how tight he plays his guys, and how contested he's able to make every shot look. Even something wide open because of his large frame is something that's going to look really tight, and it's going to look like a really difficult shot when you're going up against him. The other half of that coin is that, especially when he's playing defense in the paint, he goes up for every block, and normally it's able to get you a decent contest, but it's a 50-50 because you either get a good contest, you get a good block, or you end up with a hard foul in the paint and sends a guy to the line like Jalen Horsey, who's already had himself a solid night, and in a game with less than 3 minutes on the clock now, down 13 points. It's something you really can't afford to take.
In this game, Alexander does have 2 blocks to go along with 3 steals and assists, 13 rebounds, and 18 points. Really just filling up the entire stat sheet, leading all scorers in points. But again, you've seen the capabilities of this Vulcan team. There was a couple stretches at one point in the second half and at the end of the first half where they went on these long runs where they were just able to move the ball really well, able to knock down their shots, and able to get stops on the defensive side and kind of swing the momentum back in their favor. And you can see the glimpses. You can see where this team can really shine. It just seems like the consistency has not been there in this game, and down this stretch just hasn't been the case. There's another turnover by the Vulcans.
And a lazy pass by Caden Hanna gets cherry-picked by the side of the Wilmington Wildcats. Double screen in. Baller at the top of the key. Driving into the paint, takes the contested shot. Really good, picked up by Bowers. Tapped away by Cam Pollock. Good defensive play by him. Bounces that one into Shields. He wanted to go in for the dunk, but 3 Wilmington defenders on him. Surprised he didn't take any more damage there. So Shields is going to go to the line for 2, and Perkins is going to check back into the game.
That one was one that looked a lot worse than it actually ended up being, as there were 3 defenders around the Shields on the inside down there, and he went up, and it sounded like he just got whacked, but just took a little bit of contact. Looks like everything's all right with him. And Hawkins and Perkins are both going to check back in here for the Wildcats.
It's Bowers and Perez going out. The Shields makes his first, so 13-point game, and can imagine you're putting Perkins and Hawkins in there just for extra security. These guys have played pretty well here so far tonight. The Shields makes his second, so a little bit of, I don't want to say insurance, but a little bit of solid performance by both of them to keep this game in tow. And Perkins is forced out of bounds. What are they going to call, though? California Vulcans think the ball should stay on their side. And foul was called. I believe that one might have gone against Caden Hanna, as I saw 1-2 get put up. Or I saw A2.
They're going to say, I'm looking at the live feed, the score, it's going to, no foul will just be a timeout taken. That's what Coach Sankum is just trying to figure out here, because, again, it looks like another situation where it looks like they're flashing a number for a foul called or some sort of obstruction called on the far side as you hear people calling a timeout. So no one really knows what happens, but it looks like they're going to give Wilmington the timeout as the Vulcans are looking to apply pressure, trying to press down the court and try to force some turnovers like Wilmington kind of did early on in the game, where they were able to kind of force some pressure, force some mistakes by the Vulcans. And this is the second to last home game before the new year. And Tuesday they face off against the Huskies of Bloomsburg before playing one final game in 2024 against Kutztown on December 21st. And the first game after the new year at Gannon on January 4th. And then January 8th hosting the Rock here at the Convocation Center Wednesday 7:30 for the first home game of 2025 for the Vulcans.
Yeah, and I mean, that's just a tough home stretch to start off with, and I think immediately that's going to be a foul by the Shields. And, I mean, yeah, immediately having to start the new year off, and number 1 in the West, Gannon. Slippery Rock, who was picked as the preseason number 3, I believe. Seton Hill, who's proven to be rather strong this year with a 9-2 record, and it's been pretty tough so far for them. And to live up to the expectations that they've had. Horsey goes back into the stables. That'll be Bowers coming in for him.
And again, if you're a Vulcan fan, it is expected that a couple of the key players for your team will be back to start, or back when the conference play gets into the thick of it. at the turn of the new year. So hopefully by then you have a couple of your players back and you're able to play at a much higher strength.
And the shot attempt by Buchanan is no good. Good defense by Hawkins stops anything. Perkins now going to try and just take a little bit more of the clock up as Wildcats are going to try and slow things down and run a more methodical offense. Stop any sort of chance from these Vulcans mounting a comeback. Perez with the ball. Far side by the bench. Moves on Hanna. Spin move drops him. Kicks that one over to Waller. No good. Dalman Alexander tried a dribble move. That one no good. Hawkins down to the free throw line. Bowers tried in. That one called off as a travel. I believe that one's going to go against Hawkins. And an unfortunate mistake for Hawkins is now going to go in favor of the Vulcans. Minute 23 on the clock. Down by 12. Still a very, very manageable game, but Caden Hanna just mishandles the ball. He's going to put this back in the hands of Bowers. Thought he wanted to go for the lob. Instead goes for the reverse layup. 14-point game now. Polak with the ball on the far side. Cam Polak, the redshirted junior, goes up for the shot. No good. Ball will be knocked out of bounds. California will retain possession.
Wilmington looking to secure their third win of the season, and as they're going to start to head into conference play, 2 final away games at New Haven and at Assumption before the end of the year, and then going into 2025 hosting against Staten Island before they start conference play at Bridgeport. So a big win up here on the west side of Pennsylvania right before the end of 2024.
11-point game now. Dalman Alexander took the inbound 3. And I thought that was a steal by the Shields at first, but that one going to be called a foul against him. That will send Perkins to the line. That is the Shields' 4th of the game. 55 seconds on the clock. Gotta think this one now out of reach. Perkins shot, no good, rebounded by Alexander. Vulcan's gonna have to play this one quickly. Polak forces the 3 ball. That one gonna be called a foul against Perkins. And that will be his 5th of the game. If they stick with it. They will. That is his 5th of the game. He will have to sit the rest of this game out on the bench. And as Cam Polak gets ready to take his free throws, Coach Burke just has a few more words for his guys.
Yeah, and he came in a couple of minutes ago. I'm surprised the Vulcans didn't try to attack him earlier on, because that's kind of the idea. If you see players in foul trouble, you kind of want to exploit it, because they're not going to be able to play as tough a defense because they're not going to want to foul out. So you try to drive after them. You try to force mismatches. You try to take advantage of that. And I'm surprised it took the Vulcans this long to finally do that, but Perkins now out of the game.
So that will be Cam Polak shooting the free throws. Historically a pretty good free throw shooter for him, so not surprising that he does make the first one. 10-point game, 47 seconds on the clock. Polak with a chance to make it single score. He does. Now a 9-point game, 67-76. Polak, will he make it an even 8? Yes, he will. Cam Polak sends us to an 8-point game with 47 seconds on the clock. Things now getting really interesting here. Having tough with the inbound. Keandre DeShields, Dalman Alexander on Perez. He's not able to get anything out of it. I think this is going to be maybe a timeout call by Coach Burke. That'll be a timeout call for Coach Burke with 44 seconds left. And that will mean the Wilmington Wildcats will retain possession of the ball.
Yeah, that was a close one. They nearly didn't get it off before the violation on the inbounds pass, and you saw Coach Sankum trying to kind of vouch for his players, as they thought maybe they were able to foul it before the timeout went through, but they're going to give the timeout to the Wildcats, and 44.5 seconds left, and now down towards the end of it. There's a lot of I want to say a lot less. There's an opportunity for the Vulcans, but you're relying on a lot to go your way.
Just checking the score of this Fair State Slippery Rock game in Division II football. Fair State returns back a kick for a touchdown, so that is now a 27-21 point game. And a fascinating little revelation in Division II football right now. As for Division II basketball, California down 8 points to the Wilmington Wildcats. Coach Sankum able to get his last little bit of wisdom into his guys before going for one of the tougher challenges they've faced all season. Will they remain above 500? That is yet to be seen. The inbound for the Wildcats, given Horsey. Fouled by Buchanan. Be Buchanan's third of the game. That'll be the team's ninth. That'll send Horsey to the line, 1 for 1. Almost a 1 foul away from the double bonus. Horsey with the chance to make it 9. He does. Isaiah Cradle will now check in for Trey Hawkins. 43.2 left on the clock. Almost a full shot clock in time available. Full shot clock and a half, excuse me, as Horsey's going to make both his shots. 10-point game. Cam Pollock moving it up the far side. He's going to take the deep three and make this equal. No good, just immediately rips it off. Cam Pollock will fight for the ball on the rebound. Jump ball called. And Caden Hanna looks like he's having a bit of trouble with his ankle, and it's a guy who just came back after going down at Wheeling, so gotta hope he's okay.
And just the injury bug for the Vulcans continues, and that's one, again, where, like you said, he just came back from injury, and it's not really one at this point you can afford to lose, as the Vulcans are running out of players here. There's another whistle blown as there's a foul off the ball as Pollock tried to inbound the pass.
Honestly, this might not be the worst case scenario for Wilmington. If anything, this is actually pretty good for them. Buchanan at the line, even though he's been pretty good tonight, limits him to only 2 points.
And it prevents them from taking the 3, but
Absolutely.
It also doesn't take any time off the clock, so there's a bit of give and take there where you can't let the Vulcans not take the 3, so there's no chance they can kind of close that gap, but also you're not wasting any time.
Yeah, and most importantly, as you saw there, Buchanan only made the 1. So clock ticks down to 29.9. So now the shot clock will turn off. There's a 9-point lead for California. Cradle has a chance to put this even further out of reach. Singleton will check into the game for the Shields.
The Shields picks up his 5th, so he's also fouled out of the game.
Simpson at the scorer's table. First one from Cradle is good. Simpson checks in for Hawkins. So with no shot clock remaining, almost said shoot clock again accidentally. 29.9 left. Cradle makes both, and that's going to put things out of reach for California. Vulcan's still going to try and work their magic as best they can. Cam Pollock on the inside move, drives it into the lane for the layup. It's going to be the immediate timeout called by Coach Sankum.
It's a quick basket by the Vulcans that time, but that's one where if you saw the defense played by the Wildcats there, that's one that they're willing to give up. You know, you just can't let the Vulcans take all these deep threes. If you're Coach Burke for the Wildcats, you heard his team, you heard him yell and move, but you also saw his players let Polak go past him to get into the lane, because just taking these layups isn't really anything that's going to scare you as a team. You're up by 9, you have a comfortable cushion, so you're not afraid, and you're more than perfectly happy to let them kind of waste the time, take time off the clock, driving in to take the layup instead of just trying to knock down some of these threes. So good job by the Vulcans to get some points on the board and try to close things up, but it seems like they're falling right into the hand that the Wildcats have set for them.
Absolutely. Waller to inbound it. Looks like they're running 4 verticals more than anything. Foul coming in from Caden Hanna is going to send Cradle to the line.
And this is one of the struggles of modern basketball, so to speak. I see a lot of talk about it online, where when you have such close games like this, where it seems like a game that could be a marathon just kind of slows down. It's just like it goes from action-packed, like through and through, to a snail's pace at the end, because you see the teams, they become so smart now in the use of like analytics and advanced statistics, things like that, where you just know it's, if you foul, you draw possessions out, you let other teams not get possessions, and it can lead to things like this where you foul for a reason and now it cuts down to a 7-point game with 16 seconds left.
And I think certainly living up to the name Cardiac Cal. Gonna be giving the Heart a little bit of a few extra beats and a few extra skips. 74-81 the score, 16 seconds, 0.3 on the clock. And going off your point, I think it's not always the hare that wins the race. Sometimes it is the turtle, just because you don't need to play that clock fully out. I don't think you need to be worrying about rushing the ball sometimes. Sometimes you just need to play the game out and let it go at that snail's pace, and if it works it out, it works it out for you.
I mean, the tortoise does win in the fables, so I think it holds true in a lot of aspects, you know. Teaches you not to rush things.
Absolutely. That's a life lesson we can all take. We don't know how long our lives are on this earth, so let's try and take advantageous advantage of it and live it out as best as we can. Sometimes that's taking things slow, sometimes that's taking things quickly. Life is in fact life, and you need to enjoy it, John.
And while we get back into it, I have one more question for you. How was your semester? You know, as things wind down, I think the last game against Bloomsburg will be the final game of the semester. So, how was it for you?
Oh well, the semester's already been over. Just had commencement today, but what can you say? It's been a fall. I think fall's always the toughest. I mean, you go through fall, everything's so grindy that eventually when you get to the spring, everything seems like it's going by so fast you don't even know what's happening. As Perez loses the ball, Caden Hanna's going to grab it back, kicks it out to Cam Polak for 3. Is that one going to go? No. The rebound fight, no good. Tapped by, I believe, Caden Hanna, 5.9. Again, made the Heart skip a few extra beats there for a second.
Yeah, it was a close one, and it's a bit unfortunate for the Vulcans because that's absolute worst case scenario. You get the steal, you don't make the 3-pointer, and you waste a ton of time as it kind of bounces away. But waiting to see, referees are going to signal it came off of a Wildcat, but you got 5 seconds to score 7 points. You're in for a tall task if you're the Vulcans. You gotta get quick and you gotta make your shots here.
Yeah, Waller and Coach Burke both very animated, and I think Waller, you can tell, was probably the most vocal of everybody, thinking that one was not against the Wildcats of Wilmington. But yeah, as he said, I mean, 7 points in 5 seconds. I've seen crazier things happen in this world, but that's a very tall task for anybody. Caden Hanna goes for 3. That one just immediately blocked. I think he's just going to go for the respect 3. Nothing from him. Clock winds out, and that is it for the ball game here in historic Hamer Hall. California not able to pull this one out. 81-74. Wilmington takes their 3rd win of the season, and California drops to 6-6. That has been the game here from me, Nate Kurtz, and John Sape here on CUTV Sports 1 on Cablecast, on the PSAC Digital Sports Network and YouTube, and 91.9 FM. Thank you for joining us along in this ride, and ladies and gentlemen, have a good day.